Good morning. Hi, everyone. Hopping on today to share with you the next spiritual psychology principle. I hope you guys are doing awesome today. Our neighbors are getting a new roof put on their house, so if you hear any commotion in the background, it's probably that. So I hope you're doing really good, and I appreciate you being here so much. I appreciate you being open to learning some new principles, some new ways of looking at your healing journey, your growth process, right? I want us to get beyond recovery being about substance use, and I want us to really look at the recovery process as a healing process. That isn't solely about one specific thing, it's actually about many things. Okay, so today we're talking about one of my favorite principles. And I was just thinking about this a few days ago, that I don't really support people in making the decision to recover. It's not really a process that I help people with, but all of the paradigms, principles, all the things we talk about can create that shift for you. That is really such a personal journey, and that's why I love this paradigm, because it is truly about taking personal responsibility. And it wasn't until I took personal responsibility that I was actually able to engage the recovery process. So that's so huge. Just knowing that you have to take personal responsibility to engage the healing journey. And what I see for so many people is people wanting to heal, but that they haven't done this piece yet, right? So this can be a really huge paradigm shift for people, that personal responsibility is the foundational key that opens the door to freedom. And we really can't bypass this experience. When we try to bypass taking personal responsibility, I find that we always come back to this place. So many of you know that part of my story is that for years I didn't want to take personal responsibility. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to heal. I didn't want to do the work that was required to make things better for me. I wanted to be pointing the finger at other people. I wanted to be blaming other people. I wanted to be in that space. And so that's why I never judge people that are in victim consciousness, because I can fully relate to that experience. I can also relate to victim consciousness getting me absolutely nowhere, except further down the rabbit hole that I didn't want to be in. So I have a great appreciation for victim consciousness, and I also have such a great appreciation for moving beyond it, because it's the moving beyond victim consciousness that actually creates the shift to something else. So that's why I always recommend for people to get really honest with yourself. Really honest with yourself about where am I at? And you're gonna actually know where you're at, because if things aren't changing for you, you're gonna know that you're not in personal responsibility, okay? So this paradigm is just incredible, because when you can actually live this one, so many things are going to change for you. And when you start to embody this in every moment of every day, when you start to embody personal responsibility in every choice that you make throughout the day, that's when you're really going to see that it is the key to freedom. Because it's always going to come back to you taking responsibility for yourself, you owning whatever choices that you are taking. And so for me, this one was so big to the path of self-actualization. And it was such a big decision. This was the big decision that led to my healing, was when I actually decided I'm going to take responsibility for myself. And that didn't happen when I first went to therapy. I still wasn't taking responsibility for myself, even while I was seeing my therapist. it really wasn't until that day that I decided, okay, I'm gonna do it your way, and I'm not gonna drink for the year that we decided. I'm gonna take my anti-anxiety medication, and I'm gonna stop drinking. I'm gonna stop being in serial relationships, and I am going to devote myself 100% to learning a new way of being with myself and with the world. And that took me on this incredible journey of going and getting a master's degree at the University of Santa Monica in spiritual psychology. I did that for 2 years and did this tremendous, tremendous deep healing where I learned all of these new skills that I could facilitate a space for other people to go through them, and then I could also do them with my own story. And that was really cool. So, and this was one of the pivotal ones. This personal responsibility is the foundation that opens the door to freedom. It wasn't until I started to take personal responsibility for where I was at now, for how I had allowed all of the things in my life to impact me, and how I was using those stories now to stay in victim consciousness. That was what I had to take responsibility for. And as soon as I did, and as soon as I shifted what I was focusing on and what I was intending in my life, that's when it all started to change, which was really cool. It happened actually very quickly for me because there was such a big jump to be made that when I made that jump, it was I mean, obviously I'm still on the healing journey. Like, the healing journey has layers and it takes a long time, but I had a big breakthrough that created a big shift very fast for me. And so that is possible for all of us. And so, this is why I talk so much about thinking and feeling and behaving, right? Because I'm encouraging you to take responsibility, to look, to be aware, to be mindful of what you're thinking, of what you're feeling, of what your life looks like. Because that is our responsibility to look at and to say to ourselves, hey, is this really what I want to be creating in my life? Hey, when I look out my window and I look out of the eyes of my eyes, do I see what I want to be seeing in my life? And really being honest with yourself about that. And then it's that personal responsibility that if I'm not seeing what I want to be seeing, what now? How do I get support with this? How do I do this differently? What needs to be different? And really going on an exploration, a self-discovery of what that process looks like. It's so beautiful. It's such a profound journey to go on, and it's ever unfolding. But when that commitment is there, when that personal responsibility to being your best self, to growing, to developing yourself is there, then extraordinary things can be done. But you have to be in that place of, I want to look, I want to know, I want to work through this, I want to feel what's there and learn from it. Right? That I don't even know what to call it. That essence needs to be there of I'm willing to look at this. So I love thinking that things are happening for us. This is, like we've been talking about, this is the spiritual curriculum. So even when things feel like they suck and they're not good, it's part of your spiritual curriculum that these particular things, in spiritual psychology, it's called spiritual curriculum, but you'll hear other people call it life lessons, right? It's the same thing. These are life lessons that you're here to learn. And usually our life lessons are also what we're here to teach other people. So, that's why taking personal responsibility is so profound, because it puts you on the path of purpose. I hear so much about people wanting to find their purpose. Like, your purpose is within you, And it's your experiences. It's the things you came here to work through that you are meant to share with other people. And it's the things that you enjoy talking about and you enjoy exploring and you enjoy sharing with other people. That's your thing, right? So just always remembering that what's happening in your life is happening for your growth. And when you take responsibility and look at what that is and have your learning, then you can grow. You can grow beyond these things, and then you don't have to go through those experiences. So owning it's super important, that you can always learn from all of it. And of course, let me see if I can grab the link for you guys for the workbook. If this is your first time joining in, here's a free downloadable workbook that's got all of the principles. There's 22 principles of spiritual psychology. Feel free to click that. There's no opt-in or anything required. It's just the actual download. And then, this question, what do you need to take responsibility for in this moment? What is it? Think about that. Is there a thought you need to take responsibility for? Is there an old pattern that you need to take responsibility for? Is there something you need to let go of? Is there a feeling that you've been avoiding that you just need to allow yourself to be with and feel? What is it you need to take responsibility for? And remember, this is the door to freedom. Like, I want you to get this visual in your mind that when I take responsibility, doors open for me. When I take responsibility, I feel peaceful. When I take responsibility, things change and shift for me in a positive way. So I hope this was helpful for you. I would love to hear how this is resonating. I would love to hear something you need to take personal responsibility for. Again, it's about applying this to your experience. This isn't really about me telling you how I've done this. That can be helpful, right? But this is about you hearing this principle and thinking, how does this apply to me? How could I have freedom in my life if I were taking more responsibility? What would that be that I would be taking responsibility for? How can I take more responsibility in all areas of my life? How might I take more responsibility in the self-talk that I have every single day? There's so many ways you can apply this and have a breakthrough. All right, talk to you guys soon. Thanks for being here.